Andy Terry in Glenny Bar asked me to do security at the front door of the room. And when I asked, were they expecting anyone else, they said, Ian Paisley's coming, but he's too late. This meeting's starting at 10 a.m. So I ask again, what happens if Paisley comes? And they says, don't let him in. Keep him standing there.
We broke for a cup of tea. I come back into the room with my tea and Paisley was sitting in my chair. And I asked him to move. And he started to decry the fact that he wasn't going to come into the meeting, that two of these ruffians had stopped him outside. And I had suggested to him that he wasn't as big a man in the room as he might be outside, and would he please move? And he made an excuse that he had a bad back and the chair that he was sitting in, which was my chair, was the most comfortable in the room. So we physically lifted him, chair and all, and moved him down the table. And he then got the message that he wasn't in charge of the strike, nor was he going to be allowed to be in charge of the strike.
Troops tried to run the silent power stations, but found they couldn't on their own. They also tried to keep the filling stations open, but the strikers controlled the petrol.
The army couldn't have coped with the situation that would develop. And the army were sensible enough to stand back.
Harold Wilson had just become the new Labour Prime Minister. His Secretary of State, Merlin Rees, knew the strike had become a mass protest and had no wish to make it worse. He advised Wilson to choose his words with care. Wilson ignored the advice.
People who benefit from all this now viciously defy Westminster, purporting to act as though they were an elected government. People who spend their lives sponging on Westminster and British democracy and then systematically assault democratic methods. Who do these people think they are?
I thought, great stuff. This is fantastic. We'll make him an honorary member of the UDA after this, you know. And of course, the time we went to the streets, the people were outraged at being called spongers. And I think that was the best thing that happened to us then. Anything after that, we couldn't go wrong. And the response to that, of course, was the massive turnout of farmers and all the rest of it to Stormont. And the whole of East Belfast was totally blocked in.
The province was paralysed. Stormont's new power-sharing government resigned, and Sunningdale was consigned to history. Loyalists had defied Westminster, and through a combination of sheer numbers, industrial muscle and paramilitary power, had effectively taken over the state.
Wasn't it a coup d'etat?
No.
But you took over the running of the state. You defied the wishes of the elected representatives and the government at Westminster.
Well, they had defied our wishes as the majority of the people.
But you professed to be loyalists and loyal to the Crown and loyal to the government.
Well, the government wasn't loyal to the Crown. The government compromised the Crown.
The strikers had won. Loyalists sent Westminster an ominous message. Any government that sought to override the wishes of Ulster's Protestant majority did so at its peril. In the wake of the strike, violence on both sides escalated. The IRA believed victory was in sight. Loyalists were determined to show the IRA it couldn't win. They returned to killing Catholics. The UVF hit the enemy in its heartland. To them, the enemy was anyone living there. At this junction at 7:30 one morning, the UVF drove by and shot dead 2 young Catholics.
The 2 young men who were killed were both innocent Catholics. They had nothing to do with the IRA. They were not Republicans. They were just 2 innocent Catholics walking along Divis Street. They were shot dead by you and your colleagues.
Well, I mean, I suppose that some people could say that, but...
Well, not just say that. That's what happened. That was true, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, you know, it was 25 years ago or
Still
whatever.
happened.
Yeah, that it happened.
Grieving families,
yeah, I would...
loved ones lost.
Well, I recognise all of that happened, and I recognise that it was part of the conflict.
Billy Hutchinson was sentenced to life for the double murder. Today, he's a leading Loyalist politician committed to the peace process.
Do you regret what you did? Do you regret your part in the murder of those two young men?
No, I don't have any regrets for anything I've done. I believe that I was a part of a war, and that war had to be fought. And what we need to do is to build the future. And I certainly don't regret anything that I've done in the past.
By the beginning of 1975, the IRA called a truce during secret talks with the British government. The MI6 officer Michael Oatley personally conducted the face-to-face meetings with the IRA. Rumours of a secret deal fueled Loyalist suspicions that a united Ireland was just around the corner. The UVF bombed Conway's bar in Greencastle to provoke the IRA into breaking its ceasefire. The UVF had bombed the bar a year earlier and killed 2 Catholics. This latest attack on Conway's was the 5th in 5 years.
I had been told that it was an IRA meeting taking place. I had been told that there was a security IRA presence on the bar.
Did you care if it wasn't a meeting of Republicans, if it was just a Catholic bar?
I didn't particularly care.
It was a Catholic target?
Yeah.
Sectarian target?
Yeah.
The bomb went off prematurely, killing one of the UVF bombers and a woman whose daughter was an IRA prisoner.
What was the bomb?
It was a gas cylinder.
A gas cylinder. How big?
Well, we were told that it would be equivalent to 50-pound explosive.
What damage would that have done?
I think it would have, had the bomb went off properly, I think it would have, I mean, in those terms, in those days, it was termed to turn it into a car park.
Flattened it?
Yeah.
Basically, it was an operation that went wrong in the sense that whenever we'd got to the bar, the bomb had exploded and killed 2 people, and I had came round in the debris of the bar.
Martin Snodden and Eddie Kinner were both given life sentences for murder.
How did you react when you heard that a woman had been killed by your bomb?
I was devastated, to be honest. As far as I was concerned, I was going out to attack and kill the IRA. It wasn't my intentions to kill any woman or any other civilian.
As far as I was concerned, I was doing exactly what was being done to my community, on their community.
Tit for tat?
Yeah.
Fran O'Toole was the lead singer with Ireland's most popular group, the Miami Show Band.
I didn't even know your name. I didn't care 'cause I was searching.
Fran and the show band were household names, playing to packed audiences on both sides of the border. Most of the Loyalist victims would have been unknown outside their immediate community. Their names would appear and then be forgotten. The UVF planned to change all that.
You gotta smile a little more. I wasn't meant to be a mover.
Fran and the band had been playing in the north in Banbridge and were heading home to Dublin. Just outside Newry, they were stopped at a checkpoint. One of the band members was Stephen Travers.